Long ago, when the world was just beginning, a terrible war shattered the heavens. The Immortals, once thought themselves indestructible, discovered a terrifying truth: they could kill each other. This realization tore their realm apart, sparking a war so strong it shook existence itself. In the heart of the conflict, a weapon of unimaginable power, the Epirus bow, was lost, slipping into the fragile human world. The victors of this divine battle rose as gods, ruling from above. But the defeated, now powerless, were cast down and named Titans, trapped within the mountains of Tartarus. A young oracle awoke with a gasp, her body trembling as her visions remained. Her companions surrounded her, their faces tense with worry. When they pressed her for answers, she revealed what she had seen. King Hyperion would unleash the Titans from their prison, shattering the fragile balance of the world. To do so, he sought the Epirus bow, to crush the gods and enslave mankind. Fear rippled through the group, but they had no time to process it. The ground quaked as Hyperion's massive army arrived at the monastery gates. The king stormed in, his fury as violent as his intentions. He demanded to see the oracle, but the priest stood in his way, warning that the gods would punish such a disrespectful act towards the divine. Hyperion's response was cold and bitter. He demanded to know where the gods were, when his wife and child lay dying, despite his prayers. Without waiting for an answer, he set the priest ablaze, his rage consuming any trace of mercy. He declared that he would end the god's reign, no matter the cost. The monastery fell silent, a grim shadow of the king's growing power. Far away, in a quiet Hellenic village, Theseus lived a humble life with his mother. But peace wouldn't last. One day, bells rang out, and the villagers rushed to the center to hear the commander, Helios, deliver devastating news. Hyperion had seized the Sibylline monastery and was marching toward their village. Helios ordered an evacuation to Mount Tartarus, where they could hide behind its massive walls. But there was a problem. Peasants like Theseus were forbidden to join. They were deemed worthless, their lives considered of little value. Fury burned in Theseus as he confronted the injustice. When soldiers tried to force him into submission, he fought back, taking on 5 men and capturing their leader, Lysander. Helios stepped in to negotiate, promising Theseus that the peasants would be taken to safety. Reluctantly, Theseus released Lysander, but rejected Helios' offer to join the army. He couldn't trust those who treated his kind as insignificant. Frustrated, but looking for solutions, Theseus turned to his teacher, an old man with wisdom beyond his years. The elder didn't sugarcoat the truth. Death at Hyperion's hands was inevitable unless Theseus took a stand. That night, the old man revealed his secret. Sensing an intruder in his home, he shed his mortal disguise, revealing himself as Zeus, the king of the gods. Watching in silence was Athena, his daughter. She questioned why Zeus interfered so much with Theseus. Zeus admitted the truth. Only Theseus could rally humanity against Hyperion's army. But the path he would choose had to be his own. After the nobles evacuated to safety, Lysander, left behind with the other commanders to protect the peasants, showed his true colors. He betrayed them all, murdering the commanders in cold blood. He rushed to King Hyperion, eager to offer weapons, women, and information, all to win a place in the ruthless king's army. But Hyperion wasn't impressed. To him, Lysander was nothing more than a coward and a traitor. Hyperion agreed to spare Lysander's life on one humiliating condition: his soldiers would ensure he could never father another coward. Broken but alive, Lysander joined the ranks of Hyperion's forces. The next day, Theseus climbed the hills near his village to train with his spear, seeking a moment of peace. But that peace was shattered when he saw smoke rising from the village. His heart sank as he sprinted back, only to find chaos. Hyperion's army had invaded, slaughtering the villagers left behind. Amid the carnage, Theseus spotted his mother, cornered by 2 soldiers. Fueled by rage, he fought like a whirlwind, cutting down Hyperion's soldiers like Superman in a desperate attempt to save her. But his strength wasn't enough. He was overwhelmed, pinned down by the soldiers. Then Hyperion himself appeared. Without a word, the tyrant drew his dagger and ended Theseus' mother's life as the young man watched helplessly. It was a moment that burned into Theseus' soul, leaving him broken. Hyperion, satisfied with his cruelty, ordered Theseus to be dragged off to the salt mines as a slave. On Mount Olympus, the gods watched the devastation unfold. Hyperion's army continued its relentless march, destroying monasteries in their search for the Epirus bow. Zeus reminded the other gods of their law. They could not interfere in mortal affairs unless the Titans were released. If they disobeyed, they would face death. But not all gods agreed with such restraint. Meanwhile, Theseus's fate took a surprising turn in the salt mines. 4 oracles, captured by Hyperion soldiers, were brought to the same prison. When the virgin oracle, Phaedra, accidentally brushed against Theseus's leg, she was struck by a vision of him standing alongside Hyperion amidst the ruins of Greece. Troubled but determined, she urged her fellow prisoners to escape that very night. As night fell, the oracles began their escape. They were interrupted by guards but fought back fiercely, killing their captors. While 3 oracles stayed behind to buy time, Phaedra freed Theseus and other prisoners, leading them into the wilderness. Together, they fled the prison and sought refuge. The next morning, an escaped prisoner named Stavros spotted a merchant ship. The group hatched a plan to seize it and sail north, aiming to stop Hyperion's advance. A brutal battle erupted, and the group successfully killed all the guards. But as they approached, they realized too late that the ship was crawling with Hyperion soldiers, and they were outnumbered. From Olympus, Poseidon defied Zeus's orders and plunged into the sea. His intervention created a massive tidal wave, destroying the ship and scattering the soldiers. Guided by Phaedra's visions, Theseus and his group had leapt to safety, escaping to shore just in time. Grateful but wary, Theseus questioned Phaedra about her visions. She revealed the troubling prophecy. Theseus would join forces with Hyperion in victory. She also spoke of seeing a body, which led Theseus to mention his mother's death. Phaedra insisted that he should honor her faith and return to the village to give his mother a proper burial. Back in the village, the group mournfully laid Theseus's mother to rest. Theseus, consumed by grief and anger, stared the preparation for his mother's cremation. Inside, he finds a handle and quickly tries to move it. At the same time, the mold nearby starts to glow. Curious to find the source of the light, he struck the temple mound with his hammer. Something extraordinary happened. He discovered the Epirus bow, the most powerful weapon Hyperion sought. Before he could even process this discovery, Theseus was attacked by a monstrous figure, the Minotaur, sent by Hyperion to capture the oracle. Outside, his friends were ambushed by Hyperion's soldiers. Despite the Minotaur's strength and his own injuries, Theseus fought valiantly, ultimately slaying the beast by cutting off its head. Emerging from the temple wounded, Theseus wielded the Epirus bow for the first time. Its power was immense, and he used it to annihilate the soldiers threatening his friends. With the immediate danger gone, Theseus collapsed from exhaustion. The morning light broke through the cracks in the makeshift shelter, and Theseus stirred to find Phaedra tending to his wounds. She explained that he had been poisoned during the battle, but assured him he was now safe. Their connection deepened as they confessed their feelings for each other. That night, they shared an intimate moment, but it came with a cost. Phaedra's power to see the future was lost, as she could no longer remain the virgin oracle. Later, Theseus, Phaedra, Stavros, and the monks set out for Hyperion's camp, determined to end his tyranny. When they arrived, the camp was eerily empty. In the center, Phaedra spotted a grim sight, a burning idol containing the remains of her oracle sisters. Grief overtook her as she mourned their suffering. Meanwhile, the monk, blinded by rage, stormed toward the main hall, ignoring Theseus and Stavros' warnings. It was a trap. Before they could react, they were ambushed by Hyperion's men. Chaos erupted, and in the scuffle, a dog snatched the Epirus bow from Theseus. Things looked hopeless until the god of war, Ares, descended, annihilating the enemy forces in a storm of divine fury. Moments later, Athena appeared, providing the group with horses and urging them to hurry to Tartarus to stop Hyperion. But their brief victory was cut short when Zeus himself arrived, crashing down from the heavens with a force that shook the earth. He was furious with his children for breaking the sacred law of non-interference. Athena offered a hasty apology, but Ares challenged Zeus's authority. Zeus, enraged, forged a fiery whip and struck Ares, killing him on the spot. Turning to Theseus, Zeus delivered a dire warning. No god would intervene on his behalf again. From this moment on, Theseus was on his own. Meanwhile, Hyperion had reached the Great Wall of Tartarus with his forces. He interrogated Lysander about the wall's defenses and dismissed him coldly after gathering the information. The dog that had taken the Epirus bow now approached Hyperion, delivering the weapon to its new master. A soldier reported the god's intervention at the camp, warning that such news could spread fear among the troops. Hyperion, drunk with power, silenced the soldier permanently, ensuring the story would not leave the camp. As Hyperion learned of Theseus's survival, his curiosity grew. Through Lysander, he discovered Theseus's dark past, his mother's tragic story of assault by villagers, and the outcast life Theseus had led. The boy's resilience intrigued Hyperion, but he kept his intentions hidden. On the other side, Theseus and his companions reached the Great Wall and were met by Helios, who escorted them to the council leader. Theseus urgently warned that Hyperion had the Epirus bow and that they must seal the gates and prepare for war. The council leader, however, dismissed Theseus's claims. He doubted the existence of gods and refused to act on what he deemed baseless fears. Their debate was interrupted by the arrival of an envoy from Hyperion, requesting to speak with Theseus. Suspicious but compelled, Theseus agreed to the meeting. To his shock, the envoy revealed himself as Hyperion. The tyrant tried to sway Theseus, promising him immortality and a place at his side. Hyperion was confident of his imminent victory and sought to bring Theseus into his fold. Theseus refused the offer without hesitation. To him, immortality was earned through deeds, not flesh. With that, he returned behind the wall, more determined than ever to face the storm that was coming. When the sun came up, the Greek army was prepared to fight. Their swords were sharp, and their shields were polished. They were all nervous. Beyond the gates of the Great Wall, Hyperion's army stretched into the horizon. Thousands of men, all prepared to crush their opposition. The air was thick with anticipation as Hyperion stepped forward, the mighty Epirus bow in his hand. With a single arrow, he unleashed devastation. The massive gates of the Great Wall crumbled as if made of sand, scattering the Hellenic defenders into chaos. Fear gripped the men. Many threw down their weapons, their courage broken. They ran, some shouting, others silent in terror, as if surrendering might somehow save them from the storm crashing through the wall. But amidst the confusion, Theseus rose. Standing tall upon the shattered wall, he called out to the panicked soldiers. He reminded them of what was at stake, not just their lives, but the very essence of their humanity. Surrender, he told them, would mean forfeiting their souls. His words sparked a flicker of hope, a revival of fearlessness in their hearts. Rallying behind him, the Hellenic men prepared to meet Hyperion's army head-on. The battlefield erupted into chaos as the two sides clashed. The Hellenics fought with unrelenting ferocity, their willpower burning brighter despite the overwhelming odds. Blood stained the ground as men fell, but the defenders refused to yield. Hyperion, relishing the carnage, marched through the gates with an air of dark triumph. He ascended the wall, cutting down any who dared stand in his way. At the summit, the leader of the Hellenic Council approached him, still hoping for a peaceful resolution. Hyperion's response was merciless. He silenced the man forever with a single swing of his blade. Turning his attention to Tartarus, Hyperion aimed the Epirus bow at the mountain's prison. Theseus, battling below, heard the earth-shaking explosion as Hyperion struck the cage holding the Titans. Racing to stop him alongside Stavros, Theseus arrived too late. The Titans, monstrous and enraged, burst free from their prison. Stavros fell, gravely injured, as the Titans began their rampage. Just as hope seemed lost, the gods descended from the skies. Zeus, wielding his mighty hammer, and an epic battle began. Lightning clashed with raw fury as the gods and Titans waged war. Apollo and Hercules fought valiantly, but were slain by the relentless Titans. Poseidon unleashed his oceanic wrath, taking down many of the beasts before he too fell. Meanwhile, outside the chaos, Theseus found himself face-to-face with Hyperion. The two men, avatars of mortal determination and mad ambition, clashed in a duel to the death. As gods and Titans tore the place apart, Theseus and Hyperion's battle mirrored their intensity. Bloodied and battered, Theseus finally triumphed, striking down the tyrant who had brought so much destruction. The war took a heavy toll on Olympus. Zeus watched in agony as his daughter Athena was impaled by the Titans. Consumed by rage and grief, he grasped the chains binding Tartarus and pulled with all his might. The mountain groaned and collapsed, sealing the Titans inside once more. The battlefield was silent. The only noise was Tartarus crashing down. In the aftermath, Theseus's bravery earned him a place among the gods. His heroic deeds were immortalized, and his village erected a grand monument in his honor. Years later, Acamas, son of Theseus, stood before his father's towering monument, gazing at it with awe. An old man approached him, the same man, Zeus, who had once trained Theseus. The mentor told Achames of an approaching war in the heavens, one where his father would fight once again. Looking up to the sky, Achames saw it, the ethereal clash of gods and mortals, a battle raging across the heavens. The cycle of war had started again, and destiny was calling.